Tonight, not healthy enough for the health sciences, some popular treats are getting the boot.
I get it, you want to promote healthy eating.
You know, I'm an adult, so I know if I want to eat healthy.
But is everyone on board? There's something sweet missing from this Tim Hortons. Why the health authority is cracking down.
From supplies to snacks to back-to-school fits, teachers are bracing for the costly back-to-school season and what it will mean for the classroom.
Food prices are high, clothing prices are high. It's heavy.
We're acknowledging that today, that we still exist and we're still here and we have roots on this island.
Marine Atlantic is getting a new ferry next year, and they're giving it a Mi'kmaq name, Alisuinu. I'll tell you what it means and why it matters to the Mi'kmaq community in this province.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. A new policy at a St. John's hospital is raising eyebrows. It's meant to promote healthy eating, but it leaves a fan favorite snack on the outs. Here and Now's Talia Kliat has the not-so-sweet details.
On first glance, this might look like an ordinary Tim Hortons counter, but something's missing at Eastern Health. After the hospital's new healthy eating policy was instated, you won't be able to find Timbits or donuts inside.
We're looking at providing an environment in which people will hopefully be able to choose from what we have available to make the healthier choice.
The donut ban is only part of the first phase of the policy. Over the next 3 years, chocolate, soft drinks, and chips will be phased out at hospital retailers. And not everyone is thrilled with these changes.
I feel like that is a little bit over the top. It's like, I get it, you want to promote healthy eating, but for healthy eating, that should be a personal choice and something that someone should try and do, and it shouldn't be something that is completely banned.
I'm not really pleased at it. I think everybody should have their own choice of what they eat. And, you know, I'm an adult, so I know if I want to eat healthy, you know, and I think they should just let it be.
The other concern is that for some people with food restrictions, you may be taking away some of the few things they can eat.
If you have any kind of food restrictions like gluten-free, allergies, vegetarian, vegan, all that kind of stuff, it is even harder to get food, just food period, when you're at the hospital. A lot of the prepackaged stuff, you're going to be looking at like tuna salad sandwiches, even the salads, a lot of them will have meat or bacon or something like that. And even if you are like halal, like those are going to be things that impact the quality of your care at the hospital, and food is part of quality of care.
Still, Eastern Health says that the policy promotes the overall well-being of the people they serve and hospital employees.
It is a change. It's something that people often have difficulty with when we're dealing with any issue. But we think over the 3 years, in terms of the phased-in approach, it will be something that people will look to and appreciate in terms of what we're able to provide to them in our facilities.
It's important to note that donuts aren't actually banned. You can still pick up sweets from other locations and bring them in. You just can't get them on site. Talia Kliat, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, parents are feeling the financial pinch of back to school. We've heard it from families and nonprofits alike. As Here and Now's Henrika Wilhelm reports, it's a September stress that teachers are bracing for as well.
It's worrisome to start the year knowing full well that a lot of our children are going to start without what they need to start.
And that's the reality for many. Children making their way back to school, September comes with a price tag for parents. It's an issue well known by teachers.
It's heavy, and this is not a new phenomenon. It's always been heavy this time of year for parents as they try to make sure the funds are in place.
And something about this year, says Langdon, seems extra heavy.
In recent years, it's certainly been exacerbated by inflation and the cost of living, for sure. We often hear the need to make donations this time of year for backpacks and so on to different groups. But even those families who in the past would make those donations are making decisions that they can't make those donations.
Teachers are going the extra mile to make sure everyone is set up for success. Inside and outside the classroom, many are chipping in where they can.
What teachers see day in, day out is very common for teachers to pack 2 lunches, one for themselves and one for a student who may need it. It's very common for them to pack extra recess. They're buying supplies for their classrooms that they need to offer the curriculum. And more often than not, teachers will choose to just pay out of pocket than to not do the activity. So that's ultimately where teachers are starting the year, and that's been a constant piece for us, that we want to make sure that kids get these opportunities, and the funds just aren't there from a provincial perspective.
Langdon says publicly funded education should mean enough funds are in place to properly equip classrooms. And while teachers are working to be creative with their assignments, he says they shouldn't feel forced to adjust the curriculum to make up for missing supplies. Henrike Wilhelm, CBC News, St. John's.
Very good Wednesday evening to you. I'm Heather Gillis filling in for Ashley tonight, taking a look at our current conditions in St. John's. It's cloudy now, and not too long ago we saw a few specks of water here on this camera overlooking Prince Philip Parkway, and that's because we had some showers here earlier today, feeling like 20 degrees with the humidex, and that's what our high really kind of topped out at here for St. John's. A little bit warmer on the southern Avalon and Cape Race, 20, 22 degrees across the south to southwest coast and into the west coast. But as we head into the Bonavista Peninsula and in through central Newfoundland today, we saw things in the mid to upper teens, so much cooler than the last time I was with you in July when we had all of those heat warnings. Our temperatures in Labrador today between 12 and 21 degrees in Labrador. Talking about our weather that's on the way now. When we take a look at tonight, we're going to see some clouds, possibly a chance of showers for the northeast Avalon, Bonavista Peninsula, west coast, and possibly even the coastal Labrador area. Clearing off tomorrow, and sun and cloud to kick off your Friday. We'll talk about all that and more a little later in the show.
Well, police have confirmed that human remains found in St. John's over the weekend belonged to Joe Whalen. The 31-year-old had been missing in the area of Windermere Road in the Gould since August 1st. There's no word on the cause of Whalen's death. A social media post from the family thanks everyone who aided in the search. The RNC is still asking people in the Goulds and Petty Harbour areas to check outdoor video footage for any overnight activity captured between August 1st and 2nd. And a heads up for drivers on the Avalon, a portion of Pitts Memorial Drive will be shut down this evening. The westbound lane between New Gower Street and Kilbride will be closed between 7 and 9 o'clock tonight. And that's the stretch of road running between Kilbride and the downtown area. Work has been ongoing on Pitts Memorial Drive to repair the bridge. Drivers are asked to pay attention to construction in the area and plan an alternative route. Well, Marine Atlantic will soon have a new vessel. It will carry up to 1,000 passengers between this province and Nova Scotia, and it will have a Mi'kmaq name. Here Now's Colleen Connors explains why.
A new vessel is joining the fleet. The Alisuinu will join the Atlantic Vision, Highlanders, and Blue Petits in carrying passengers and freight across the Atlantic. Alisuinu means traveler in Mi'kmaq, a name the employees at Marine Atlantic suggested.
And we were quite thrilled with this, actually. The responses from the employees, overwhelmingly, were all focused on truth and reconciliation. So, I mean, it's something that's important to Marine Atlantic as a company, but obviously very important to our employees as well.
Marine Atlantic consulted with Indigenous partners in this province and other parts of Canada to ensure the suggested names were appropriate and respectful. There was a short list, and Alisuinu was the winner. It's something the Halibu First Nation says is a very good first step.
Well, it's just so appropriate that somebody who is traveling between the mainland, Nova Scotia, and Newfoundland, following the roots of our ancestors, would be traveling on a ship named after the Mi'kmaq word for traveler.
Pender says it shows the company is sending a very strong message and acknowledging the Mi'kmaq presence in this province. He says ancestors arrived in birch bark canoes and risked their lives to come across the island, creating communities here long before the Europeans.
Sort of going back to the beginning and saying, this is where we came from, and we're acknowledging that today, that we still exist and we're still here and we have roots on this island.
The name Alisuinu will be displayed on the bow of the new boat, but Marine Atlantic plans on bringing an Indigenous theme throughout the vessel with signage and possibly featuring some of the Mi'kmaq artist and muralist Marcus Goss's work, whose spirit name happens to be Alisuinu.
The name of the vessel is the beginning, but it's certainly not intended to be the end of that journey for us.
The Alisuinu is set to arrive in Newfoundland and Labrador in early 2024. It's a much more energy-efficient modern ship with less underwater noise.
It can hold 1,000 passengers and will have 146 cabins, some even pet-friendly. It will still take some time until you can see the name Alisuinu across the side of this ferry. Passengers can start boarding and using this new vessel in the summer of 2024. Colleen Connors, CBC News, Corner Brook.
Well, it's the group that supports the supporters. The Community Sector Council of Newfoundland and Labrador unveiled its new brand in Gander this week. CBC's Troy Turner tells us about the big impact of volunteers.
Volunteers don't just help make the communities they serve better, they also are an important part of the economy. They are to support those who support the community, is the Community Sector Council.
CSC plays such a valuable role in providing training and support and access to resources so our not-for-profits and charities can be strong, can be effective, can meet their goals and their aspirations.
Volunteers and council staff gathered at the Gander Airport to celebrate the refresh. Among the volunteerism highlighted was the work at St. Gabriel's Hall, a volunteer-run event center in Marystown.
It is difficult, but when it's non-for-profit and you only have a certain amount of volunteers, it takes a lot because it starts at the front door when you come in. If you're getting ready for a wedding, then obviously there's a lot of things that has to be done, from cleaning to bathrooms to setting up, but it takes a lot of time to do that if you want to do it right.
Nora Tremblett began volunteering with the Hall in 2006. She says finding something you love is key.
It's a very rewarding thing to volunteer. It's, when you walk, you're not getting paid, you walk away at the end of the day, you feel like you've done something, and people enjoy it.
Many volunteers are retirees, and as volunteers throughout the province age, she says it's important for youth to pick up the baton.
We have to engage young youth. And I think that's where we have to start with. We have to start with the youth in the schools, get them involved in various things. And again, you won't get all of them, but I'm sure you will get a lot of them.
But one of the areas where I really think CSC has a strong role to play is around the evolution and the application of social enterprise to enhance and to preserve rural Newfoundland and our rural communities, to ensure that people can still live outside of the urban centres of Newfoundland and Labrador and have a good quality of life.
She says one of Council's jobs is to make sure the people know just how important the 6,000 organizations are to the province. Troy Turner, CBC News, Gander.
Today marks 46 years since swimmer Blair Tucker wowed at the 1977 Canada Games. It was standing room only that day at the Ac Arena in St. John's. The gold medal swim launched Tucker to the national stage. Today he calls Ottawa home, where he's a head swim coach. Earlier this year, he returned to the Ac Arena to watch his daughter take part in a meet for Memorial University. Here now's Jeremy Eaton caught up with them both poolside.
The highlight for Newfoundland was clearly Blair Tucker's gold medal swim, which raised the roof of the Ac Arena that warm August night. Those who were there will never forget it. Those who weren't aren't likely to forget it either.
The guys that I race, I knew that I've raced them before. I've never beaten them before that.
Always grew up with August 16th, 1977 was a very important day in our lives.
Now they're being introduced for the race that I think all of Newfoundland has been waiting for in this swimming pool before what I know is the biggest crowd in swimming in the history of the Canada Games here in St. John's tonight. Their own boy, Blair Tucker, just being introduced, the 200 butterfly hope.
Having the games here was huge. Right, I mean, I was at the 73 games, obviously a lot younger, not expecting to perform at the same level. So hosting the games here, being a national level swimmer, okay, now we can stand up, perform, and be on the map.
17-year-old Blair Tucker. This is the 200 butterfly. We'll tell you.
John Drinkwater was the coach. He made me commit to him 6 months before the games I was going to go win. No one ever knew that. I sat on a little hot tub down there on the edge because I just came off an injury. He said, no, you're going to do this. I said, let's get at it.
Good start. He got a great start and came up a stroke ahead. Then he paced himself? Can he keep himself together? Just swim his race.
That was the first time I've actually seen the race. And I've seen clips or articles. I've never seen the whole video. When I got that, I'm going, God, do I really open this, right? And, you know, of course, my kids saw it. My wife posted all over Facebook, and the team I coach now, it was through that whole team within hours, right? And they did make the same comment, no goggles, look at our dives or turns, because very different now. Back in the day, we're in Lycra, latex caps, there's none of these tech suits. They say you dive, you hit the water, you race, you push off, you race. They're going, your stroke rate, what are you doing? I go, that's why we raced, right?
If he can win a gold medal, I tell you, they'll tear the roof off this building. No question about it, they'll do it.
I've said before when we talk about Canada Games, I think it's really important they have them. It is a good stepping stone for kids to go from there to a more senior national scene, get on the national teams, tour teams. It's a good starting point, good leaping ground.
Come on, Tucker, don't look, just swim. Put your head down, kid, and swim.
I thought it was an incredible race. I never knew how close the finish was, which it was, watching it, I almost didn't know he was going to win, but I knew he was going to win, so it was really surreal to watch.
Now just take your stroke in. Come on, Tucker. He's done it. 209.20. What a great swim. He won it by 4/100ths of a second. He's getting a standing ovation.
Became more of a public name beyond the swimming community. That was the biggest difference. The swimming community knew who I was, and after that, the general public. If I went anywhere, you're so-and-so. And believe it or not, I still get it. At some people, I was there that day. You know, we're all different color hair now, but they're going, I was there that day. I go, wow, you know.
And that's what makes this thing, these games what they are, to see a performance like that by a hometown boy.
And what's it like for you to be back here at this pool to watch your daughter compete at the university level? What does that mean to you,
A lot. Haven't been to a meet here. I mean, I've come down to a meet in Mount Pearl and stuff like that, but she's winding down her career. This is where I guess my senior career got launched, so it's pretty cool.
As we watch Mr. Moores put the gold medal around the neck.
Huge, because I went from there, from Canada Games, to the following year where I became senior national champion.
Very difficult, it's heavy, it's powerful. You need to get a feel for it. You need to know how to manipulate the machine.
Well, last night we talked about ATV safety issues. Tonight we're talking training. Why Safety NL says online courses just aren't enough.
And in the weather forecast, things are pretty quiet with some shower activity across Labrador and some cloud moving across the province. We'll talk about all that coming up.
Wow, check this out. Sebastian St. Croix made this discovery near St. Vincent's. It's a thresher shark.
And thresher sharks are known for their long tail, which can stun their prey. And St. Croix estimates that this one was about 18 feet long.
18 feet, my goodness. Not a common sight in our waters, apparently. He said you don't have to go to Africa to go on a safari. Thanks so much for sharing that with us. Wonder what happened to him.
Interesting animal.
Yeah. Well, Heather's in for Ashley for the rest of this week, and some cooler temperatures out there today for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And if you think that it's been feeling a little chilly lately, you're absolutely not wrong, according to a tweet from Rodney Barney, who's a meteorologist. He said on online earlier today that temperatures in St. John's and Gander have been the coolest over the first 2 weeks of August than they have been since 2011. So the mean temperature in Gander was 16.7 degrees and 16.2, so half a degree cooler here in St. John's. So it's been feeling a little cooler, especially since we had all of those heat waves and heat warnings that we were talking about earlier that we had back in July. Now let's get to the current temperatures and humidex. Not a whole lot of humidity going on here today, currently 16 in St. John's, but feeling like 20, a little warmer down all along the south coast of the island. But for many other places, you know, not much of a difference between the posted temperature and the current humidex, so not muggy at all. Taking a look at our future tracker now, what we're going to see now is as we head through midnight, we'll see some of these showers sweep by Labrador West and then on out to the coast of Labrador, and we'll see some clouds moving across much of the island. It's going to be a fairly quiet night in the weather other than these showers, and a chance of showers some parts of the island as well. Taking a closer look at our temperatures into tonight, our winds are going to be fairly light, 20 or light winds with 10, 11 degrees in St. John's and central Newfoundland. So these are about seasonal temperatures. Still feeling a touch cool though. 13 in Marystown and along the south coast, down into the single digits in St. Anthony this evening with a chance of showers, and that chance of showers there along coastal Labradors with your temperatures between 9 and 11 degrees there. 15 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay with a chance of showers, and 12 in Labrador City. And as we take a look at how things will be when we wake up tomorrow, those showers, like I said, will push on out to the coast here. And it looks like we'll see some clearing for the island. So when you wake up, you could have some fog patches in some parts of the province, but they will clear off as we go through the day. Let's hit that future tracker and see a lot of this clearing action with some possible showers here for parts of the west coast and the island here as we head into the overnight and into Friday. As many people looking forward to the weekend. We'll have more on that a little later. But tomorrow, let's take a closer look there. For St. John's, our high should be 20 degrees tomorrow. We will have a chance of showers in the morning. Clouds, though, for the southern Avalon. You could see a chance of showers in Bonavista and the peninsula there as well. Mix of sun and cloud for Marystown, though, and 19 degrees. As we move on in through central Newfoundland, it looks like you guys will see a chance of showers here right from Terra Nova into central Newfoundland and on up along the northeast coast, and we will see those chance of showers in the morning. On the south coast, though, mix of sun and cloud and 19 degrees. Moving a little farther west now into the west coast. 20 along the south and southwest coast with a mix of sun and cloud. A little warmer as we move on up into the west coast from Stephenville to Gornal Brook, 20 to 24 degrees as we move on up into Gross Moor and the Humber Valley and even Bayvert. But on the northern peninsula, things will cool off a little bit between 17 and 20 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud for you folks as well. Picking up some more cloud in the Straits, looking like a pretty decent day tomorrow for Mary's Harbor. Your temperature will be a little bit warmer, factoring any humidex values, but we could pick up some showers tomorrow, a 40% chance of showers for our friends here in Cartwright. And as we move on into the rest of Labrador, talking about some showers, we could see some in the west in the afternoon for Labrador City Wabush, 22 degrees there. Mix of sun and cloud for Churchill Falls and a degree warmer for you folks. We could see some showers in Happy Valley Goose Bay though, but if you do, they will be in the morning. As for coastal Labrador, it looks like you will see some showers possibly in Makovic at 23 degrees tomorrow. But Nain, though, it looks like you'll have a pretty decent day, a mix of sun and cloud for you folks. And the winds across the big land look like they will be light. Now, when it comes to our long range forecast, it does look like we will see some rain. A lot of people looking towards the weekend, the Alanis Morissette concert here in St. John's, and a host of festivals across the province. We'll take a look at your long range a little later in the show.
Still trying to make sense of that tragedy on the weekend with 2 young women dying in ATV accidents. Yesterday on Here and Now we talked about some safety issues, but there are also some training issues that people might not know about. Sean Kelly is the President and CEO of Safety NL. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Anthony. The problem is that the regulations were brought into effect in May of 2022, and with those regulations comes a requirement for training. And particularly 16-year-olds have to be trained and have to be accompanied by an adult who is safety trained. But at this point in time, that training hasn't been developed. It is available. Safety NL provides that training. We provide that. But at this point in time, it's still not a requirement.
So when you say you provide it for corporate clients or grown-ups who want to learn ATV skills?
Yeah, well, for industry, it's mandatory. In a lot of ways, the main clients that we have are industry, Newfoundland Power, Newfoundland Hydro, those kinds of companies that require employees to take ATVs to their work site, in through transmission lines in those areas. So we have a number of clients that we provide that service for, but very few are recreational users.
I guess I want to sort of make sure I understand. So if people under 16 are supposed to get some kind of training, what kind of training is there?
Well, the training the government is developing now I'm told, is going to be an online program. So the problem that I have with that is that it's you need a practical component to this because of the nature of the equipment you're handling. It's very difficult. It's heavy. It's powerful. You need to get a feel for it. An online program solely, I think, would be inadequate. We've been involved with government in the development of the online program, but I think it needs to go further than that. We need to make sure that whatever comes forward in the future has that practical component.
I mean, I guess part of the issue has to do with the physics of leaning into turns and having your body weight in the right places. Talk to me a little bit about side-by-sides as well and the safety, because obviously there's different kinds of vehicles. I mean, how are you supposed to appreciate the difference and the dangers of driving those from a video?
Well, that's exactly the problem, is you can't, you can show a video that says this is how you can get over a log using an ATV or a UTV or anything else, off-road skidoos for that matter, all off-road vehicles, but they're all different. And depending on the vehicle that you're operating, it's going to depend on how you manipulate that and how you shift your weight and how you adjust the throttle and all of those sorts of things. So you really do need that physical experience with the machine itself. And especially, one of the unfortunate things that happened this weekend past was that one of those drivers was very inexperienced. So, my deepest condolences to the families of those 2 individuals, those 2 young people. But, I think if that kind of training had been available more broadly, there's a lot less risk of this sort of thing happening in the future.
What do you think should happen to make things safer for young people who want to try to have fun on these vehicles in a safe way? What do they need to know? What would you like to see?
Well, as I say, I think that an online program, education program on its own is not sufficient. I think that what we really need is to ensure that the providers of this training going forward, whether it's us or College in North Atlantic or some other organization, that they have the competency within themselves to offer both a practical experience and an online course as well. So they get the theoretical information, but they also get the practical experience. Because just an online course itself will not give you the kind of driver competency that you have. So it's okay to say, yes, I did an online program on Zoom, but does that make you a competent driver? Probably not. Now, we also teach motorcycle training, and the same thing happens there. People want to get a motorcycle license. They think they can drive a car, so they've been in and out of the roads all the time, and that's great. But when they get on a motorcycle, it's a whole different thing. Driving on 2 wheels, far different from 4. They need that practical experience on a motorcycle to know if they're competent, they feel comfortable on it. And some don't. Some decide that during the training, this is not for me, and they opt out.
And same thing with ATVs, what you're saying.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And so, if you get on one of these things and you don't feel comfortable, you think it's too powerful, you don't like the feel of it, you don't like going over rough terrain, then, maybe it's not for you to ride these things.
Appreciate your thoughts and your time. Obviously, safety is top of mind given what's happened. Thanks a lot.
Yes, you're welcome.
I'm not really pleased at it. I think everybody should have their own choice of what they eat.
Food is part of quality of care.
Phasing out these popular bite-sized treats, hospital patients are getting healthier options. We'll return to that story just ahead. Well, if you're heading to the hospital in St. John's and plan to pick up a dozen donuts at Tim's, you'll be out of luck. Eastern Health has started the rollout of its new health food policy. It includes getting rid of donuts and Timbits at the Tim Hortons stand in the lobby and removing a bunch of other unhealthy snacks and drinks that are for sale at the hospital. Eastern Health's Director of Public Health, Natalie Moody, joins us now to explain more. So Eastern Health introduced its new healthy eating policy last month. It'll be rolled out in phases over the next 3 years. Can you explain what the plan is and what foods are being phased out?
Sure. So the policy was actually adopted in June of 2022, and our first phase is effective in June 2023, as you've mentioned. And really what we're looking at is a 3-year plan for implementation, with the first phase involving, each of the phases actually involving the removal of partially and fried foods, as well as sugary and sweetened beverages, and as well as highly processed foods.
And why is this change being made?
So I guess it's a number of reasons. Obviously, as a health authority, we want to lead by example, and we want to be able to ensure that we're in a position where we can help support and promote the health and well-being of the people that we serve. And really what we've looked at, I guess, is being able to provide an environment in which people can make healthy choices, and being able to provide that supportive environment is actually is the main goal of the whole policy. We've also looked at it as an opportunity to provide an environment that's supportive for our employees, which they've asked for in the past and through our consultations. And the other big reason, I guess, is for those individuals that are visiting our Eastern Health facilities, and being able to ensure that we can provide healthier food options for them as well, including individuals who are coming for appointments or family members that are visiting, and being able to ensure that we're doing our part to make things available to them that make the healthier choice the easier choice.
Mm-hmm. So at the end of the 3 years, all of the fried foods, the chocolate, the candy, the sugary drinks, all of that will be eliminated from the sales stand at the hospital.
Yes, so this policy applies to retail only, and it applies to our cafeterias, our canteens, as well as to our auxiliary gift shops. And what we're looking at is the gradual rollout of the policy, so that people have time to plan and be able to be prepared for the changes that are required in compliance with the policy. And we will be looking at options then available in the facilities that are at varying price points to allow people to have a choice in terms of what they choose based on the amount of money that they want to be able to spend while at any of our facilities.
And that is an interesting point, because typically all of those fried foods and sugary foods, the junk food, is typically less expensive than the healthier choices that people make, the healthier foods. Will people end up paying more for their food at the hospital because of this change?
Well, our goal is to be able to provide things within a price point that people can manage to purchase, and looking at being able to provide that supportive environment. A key point of that is being able to ensure that people can afford to choose from what we have available to them, to make sure that they get what they need while they're at our facilities. So it will be done, and is currently being done, and looking at what is available and how we can make that available at a price point that people will be able to afford.
You know, being in hospital, it's often a stressful time for the patient and their family. And, if they want to treat something to make them feel a little bit better, why not just let them make that choice?
It is retail only. It doesn't apply to the policies related to inpatient food, including those individuals in long-term care, because there's other policies that deal with that. But the opportunity is there for people to bring things to facilities. But we're looking at providing an environment in which people will hopefully be able to choose from what we have available to make the healthier choice, and be able to, it is a change. It's something that people often have difficulty with when we're dealing with any issue. But we think over the 3 years, in terms of the phased-in approach, it will be something that people will look to and appreciate in terms of what we're able to provide to them in our facilities.
And just to circle back to an earlier point about the price point of healthy food versus unhealthy food. You look at a vending machine, a bottle of water is often much more expensive than a can of pop or a bottle of pop. So how will Eastern Health make those options more affordable? Like, are you looking at subsidizing the cost of the healthier foods so they aren't as expensive in the hospital, or how is that going to be done?
Well, currently what we have been working on and continue to work on is exactly that with our retailers, and they are working to ensure compliance with the policy, but also working to ensure that we are indeed creating that supportive environment that allows people to be able to choose things that are affordable to them and that also give them that healthier choice. So it really it's an ongoing effort, and as we all know, the cost of food continues to rise, and that is something that we're very conscious of, and we continue to work with our retailers and ensure that we are offering the best experience that we can to anybody who enters our facilities.
Well, Natalie Moody, really appreciate you taking the time to break this down for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
The Northwest Territories is now operating under a state of emergency because of ongoing wildfires. In Yellowknife, about 400 people are now under an evacuation alert and being told to be ready to leave at a moment's notice. A fire is burning less than 20 kilometers west of the capital and is moving toward the city. There are fears the fire could reach Yellowknife by the weekend. An evacuation order along the highway that links the capital to southern areas of the territory territory has been extended to the city boundary. The main road into Lahaina on Maui has reopened, at least temporarily. It's giving the people from there a chance to see the devastation left by the wildfires last week. Officials have confirmed that 106 people were killed, but they say many more are still missing. The process of identifying the victims has begun. Maui's police chief says the search moves into multi-story buildings next. He says he hopes crews will have covered most of the disaster zone by the end of the weekend. Well, the housing shortage in Canada has some people making the desperate decision to live in their vehicles. But even that option is getting more complicated as some places that used to welcome overnight stays, especially campers and RVs, aren't open to the idea anymore. CBC's Philip O'Weira takes a look at the problem in one city in British Columbia.
This is actually ridiculous. It's like a full-on campground at the Squamish Walmart.
For years, this parking lot in Squamish drew van campers, RV travelers, and anyone looking to safely park overnight to sleep in their vehicle. It's a custom Walmart cultivated around North America.
We've got relatively short-term visitors coming and choosing to have their vacation here in their vehicle or RV.
The city's mayor has seen these short-term visits become long-term residencies for some as the housing crisis worsens.
We have people that truly live in Squamish and work in Squamish and are having to make the choice to live in a vehicle because of the general affordability challenges that we have here and more broadly across the province.
Recently, Walmart decided the Squamish lot would no longer be open for overnight parking. In a statement to CBC, Walmart says it experienced a number of unspecified incidents and decided to limit parking to 3 hours. Campers say they have few other options.
They've been going kind of on the street just next to it, so it's kind of like spreading out in the industrial park. Some more people are going down the Forest Service roads and just kind of, I mean, basically anywhere you can go.
The city says anybody who wants to visit Squamish and camp out in their car can check out the various campsites and RV parks that have been made available. Now, for some of those, one has to either book in advance and pay. Now, this parking lot is free and no booking is required, and that is why so many people are attracted to it.
There are no plans to accommodate people on the city's streets who want to live in their vehicle. The city does not allow camping outside designated areas, and the mayor says his priority is making sure people can afford a home.
Our focus as a municipality has been to aggressively work on affordable housing, to work on that category of the equation. We're making strides in that way.
Whether they choose to roam or are searching for a home, they are left with few other options for now. Philip O'Weira, CBC News, Squamish.
Well, as we talked about earlier in the show, a new ferry with a Mi'kmaq name will soon be sailing between Port aux Basques and North Sydney. But back in the summer of 2000, a high-speed catamaran was tested on the crossing. CBC reporter Wendy Martin went on board, and while the ferry was fast, Marine Atlantic decided it wasn't suitable for the Cabot Strait. Have a look.
The sun is just rising in the town of Port aux Basques. Most people are still asleep in bed, but not at the Marine Atlantic terminal. People have been lined up here for hours for the first crossing of the Max Moles.
We've been making a few trips on the Carbo and Smallwood, and sometimes it takes 4, 5, 6 hours. We were near 6.5 hours, right? So when they said this one's a lot faster, so we decided to try it out.
People basically want to get on the island and get off the island as quick as they can. If they can leave here at 7 in the morning and be in Halifax by mid-afternoon, this is what people want.
Time to start loading, and there's a problem. The loading ramp is a little soft. But a few boards do the trick. Soon everyone's on board, and we're on our way. This ferry can reach speeds of 43 knots. That's more than 80 kilometers an hour. An amazing speed for some of those people who can remember the earlier ferries on this crossing.
Going to be going across the Gulf in approximately 2.5 hours compared to, say, 7 hours in with the Carson days, and now today with the Smallwood and the Caribous, they're doing it down 5 hours, which is really good as well. But now to go over in 2.5 hours, new technology, who knows where we go from here.
Inside, people are settling in. There's somewhere to sit, somewhere to eat. Not much else to do, but people don't seem to mind.
The atmosphere it's really nice. I like the furniture.
The ride seems a little rocky. That's normal for this type of high-speed ferry, and it doesn't seem to bother the more seasoned travelers.
Bit rocky, I guess.
No, it is not rocky. My Lord, woman, you've never been on a ship before, have you? This is smooth.
On the bridge, we've reached our top speed, and we're right on schedule. That's important. The Max Moles will make 2 round-trip crossings a day, but only for the next few months. Marine Atlantic has leased the Max Moles just for the summer. Next year, a different replacement arrives, a vessel that won't be a high-speed ferry.
I'm hoping that this Max Moles is going to catch on to the point that we won't be able to give it back at the end of summer.
But this summer, at least, people can enjoy a quick trip across the Cabot Strait. And with bookings up already nearly 25%, it appears many people plan to do just that. Wendy Martin, CBC News, on board the Max Moles.
time for a look at the long-range forecast. And earlier, Heather, you mentioned the Alanis Morissette concert that's coming up this weekend on Friday and Saturday. So I'm sure a lot of people who are heading to that outdoor concert are curious as to how the weather is going to be.
That's right. So far, it is looking pretty good. There is possibly some rain moving in on Friday night, but it should affect the south and southwest coasts. So I think right now, from what I'm looking at, it looks pretty good. When I look at the weather there on Environment Canada and look at the future tracker, it's not looking too bad. So hopefully anyone who has tickets to see Alanis Morissette and live out their 90s dreams will have a good evening. But let's take a closer look here right now as we take a look at our long-term forecast. So this is Thursday evening, should be pretty clear here across much of the island with some shower activity and some cloud across parts of Labrador. So we can see there we'll have some increasing cloud across the island Friday afternoon with some showers possibly in Labrador West, just skimming this region right through here Friday. And then if we take a little bit of a closer look, Friday in the day, it looks like it's going to be an absolutely lovely day, pretty well right across the province. 21 in St. John's, a mix of sun and cloud, a little bit cooler down on the Burin Peninsula and Marystown at 19. But as we head into Gander and Grand Falls, Windsor on Friday, into the mid-20s, so a nice Friday afternoon for you folks there on the West Coast. Couple of degrees cooler at 22. Port aux Basques will see some cloud though, so you won't see the sun like everybody else down there on the southwest coast. You'll get some cloud first, but there's only like 3 weekends left until the kids go back to school, so Friday will be an absolutely lovely day. Taking a look at our temperatures in Labrador, 27 there in Cartwright, 20 in the Straits. Beautiful day in Happy Valley Goose Bay at 27 as well, a little cooler at 20 in Nain, and we could pick up a few showers like I was showing you there earlier for Labrador City. Moving on to Saturday. That's where the good news ends. Let's take a look. It looks like we will see some showers Saturday sweep across much of the island, kind of through the Straits there as well. So that's the showers that I was talking about. Some parts of the island could see some showers. And on Saturday, we'll see those showers on the south and southwest coast. So we'll see them down here for Marystown, likely at 17 degrees and a couple of degrees warmer here for Port aux Basques. Everywhere else, you see the cloud and the rain icon for most of the rest of the province. That is a chance of showers with our temperatures pretty well into the 20s, the high teens there. Chance of showers in Labrador for many places as well. Nain looking like the dry spot at 21 degrees. Taking a look further afield now. 5-day forecast for St. John's and eastern Newfoundland. We've got some showers tomorrow. Friday looking decent like we were just talking about, and a chance of showers for the weekend. I'm sorry to report that. As we move on into central and western Newfoundland, central looking pretty well the same. 60% chance of showers Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Friday looking decent temperatures there on Friday, and not too bad for Sunday and Monday. Western Newfoundland got a good Thursday, Friday, some chance of showers moving in, but good temps for you when it is not going to have that shower activity, and on into Labrador there now. For eastern Labrador, looking pretty similar. Friday, the good day, chance of showers otherwise. Same thing for western Labrador, chance of showers right across the board. Now, this is our weather photo.
Oh, lovely.
Isn't it nice? Superb seas in Woodstock. I don't know how the fast ferry would do on those seas, but it looks pretty good.
Yeah, pretty calm. Woodstock, that's up in
Bayburt Peninsula, I believe.
Nice.
Yeah, and this is from Gordon Windsor. And if you have any beautiful photos, I know there are lots out there, you can send them to us at nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Wonderful. Well, that's it for us this evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good night.